You are your own worst enemy, and deep down you already know it. In this video, you are going to discover exactly why your mind keeps pulling you back every time you get close to something good. And more importantly, you're going to learn how to stop it permanently. But before we get to the solution, there's one thing you need to understand first. Something most people never figure out, and it's the real reason your efforts keep collapsing at the worst possible moment. Think about the last time you were on the edge of something great and you have it, a business opportunity, a relationship that actually had a chance, and then out of nowhere you found a way to mess it up. You missed the deadline. You started a fight that didn't need to happen. You quit just before the breakthrough. That wasn't bad luck. That wasn't the wrong timing. That was you executing a program you didn't even know you were running. Self-sabotage isn't a character flaw. It's not weakness. It's not laziness. It is a survival mechanism gone wrong. A system your brain built to protect you from pain. But that now fires every time you try to grow. And there's what makes it so dangerous. It disguises itself as logic. It sounds like reason. It feels like wisdom. That voice that tells you this probably won't work anyway. Isn't your intuition. It's your fear wearing the costume of common sense. The emotion at the core of self-sabotage isn't anger. And it isn't sadness too. It's shame. That quiet, suffocating belief that you are not enough. That success would expose you. That happiness would eventually be taken away. So why bother reaching for it at all? Every time you procrastinate, every time you self-distract, every time you walk away from what you want most, shame is the engine. And until you name it, you can't change it. Here's something most people never ask themselves. What exactly am I afraid will happen if I actually succeed? Sit with that question. Because underneath the behavior is always a belief that was formed when you were young, when you were vulnerable, when someone or something taught you that wanting too much leads to disappointment. That lesson is stuck. It rewired your nervous system, and now your brain interprets ambition as danger. The mind doesn't distinguish between real threats and psychological ones. To your brain, reaching for a promotion feels the same as stepping toward a predator. The cortisol spikes, the resistance kicks in, the overthinking begins, and you stay exactly where you are, safe, small, and deeply frustrated. This is not a motivational problem. This is a neurological pattern, and patterns can be interrupted. But how do you interrupt a pattern that you can barely see? That's the question nobody answers completely. And it's exactly what we're building toward here. Because the answer isn't positive thinking. It isn't journaling your feelings or repeating affirmations in the mirror. What's required is something far more precise and far more demanding. The first step is radically honesty. Not the kind you perform for other people, but the kind you do in silence, alone when nobody's watching. You have to look directly at the pattern, write it down, say it out loud. I sabotage myself when I get close to success because I believe I don't deserve it. That sentence alone, spoken with full awareness, begins to dismantle the architecture of the pattern. You can't rewire what you refuse to see. The second step is creating what you could call deliberate discomfort. Your brain avoids growth because growth feels unsafe. The way to change that association is to take small, consistent actions that prove to your nervous system that the other side of fear is survivable. You don't need to live. You need to walk forward 1 inch every single day. And let your body collect evidence that moving forward doesn't destroy you. Over time, the evidence outweighs the old story. The third step, and this is the one most people skip entirely, is identity reconstruction. You will never consistently outperform your identity. If you believe at your core that you are someone who fails, who can't sustain success, who always finds a way to ruin good things, your behavior will follow that belief with frightening precision. You have to begin telling yourself a different story, not a fantasy, a new, chosen identity built on a small, verifiable truth. I am someone who finishes what I start. I am someone who chooses discomfort over stagnation. I am someone who is learning to trust themselves. The mind doesn't change by being forced. It changes by being led consistently, patiently, with the quiet authority of someone who has decided that the old way of living is no longer acceptable. That decision is not made once. It is made every morning, in every moment of resistance, in every small choice between conform and courage. Now, do you remember that thing we said at the beginning? That there was one thing most people never figure out about why they keep collapsing right before the breakthrough? Here it is. They keep trying to fix their behavior without changing their belief about who they are. They attack the symptom and leave the root untouched. And so the cycle continues. Effort, collapse, shame, repeat. You now know the cycle. You know its name. You know its engine. And you know the 3 steps that interrupt it. See it clearly, act through it deliberately, and rebuild the identity that makes it obsolete. The war against self-sabotage is not won in a single battle. It is won in the accumulation of days where you chose, despite the fear, to keep moving forward. That is the person you are becoming, and that person is already closer than you think.